All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the next episode of the Podcast. This is an exciting one. We've got Nish from Arrae. Arrae is a powerhouse brand in the wellness space. You've just recently launched nationally at Sprout, so we're excited about that. Most excited to hear a little bit more about the story. It's a really interesting brand. Where did this all begin for you?
So we actually started the company about 5 years ago in 2020, and we started back in Toronto. So it was March 2020, COVID hit, and we had launched our brand and the website kind of the week before everything shut down. Really, it came from the idea from my wife because my wife was like, Nish, everyone is bloated and everyone is anxious. When we looked at the supplement industry in general about 5, 6 years ago, we were kind of comparing it to beauty because beauty was so well developed back then. And when you looked at beauty, you could use a product and it was, really efficacious. It worked really well for a very specific problem. So in beauty, you could go into Sephora and you could look at a very specific issue, whether it's like pigmentation or like wrinkles or dry skin, and you could go pick up something very specific to solve an issue. But when you looked at wellness, it was still quite granola, and everything was like these white bottles, and that's the way it was. And then we were like, this is going to change, and we really wanted to be at the forefront of that change. And that's really like the genesis of the brand. It's like Array builds targeted supplements for unsexy problems that people can feel the effects of in under an hour, very, very quickly. We have always built with trust in mind. And so anything we ever release, people just trust because it's going to work. And so we spend so much time and effort and work into making sure that the efficacy of the products is really, really there.
For decades, you walk in to the supplements set of any given store in any channel, and you're expected as the consumer to know the use case for everything on the shelf. So if it's magnesium, if it's quercetin, if it's lithium, it doesn't matter. You're supposed to be able to look at it or pick up the jar and read the fine print and identify the issue. The big idea to me sounds like you just broke that barrier. Now it has to work. So that's the minor detail, is that you have to actually make it work. And but from a marketing and branding perspective, you're just very clearly saying this one makes you feel less bloated.
The hard part is when you're using natural ingredients, you have to it's really hard in certain cases to make it work. So you talk about something like a headache. It's actually funny because I've looked into headaches before because it's such a problem. And for the longest time, I actually spent so much time trying to figure out, okay, can I solve headaches using natural ingredients? Here's the thing, you can, but you need so much of this ingredient that, or ingredients rather, that is basically not really feasible. People love gummies. They love literally anything but capsules. The funny thing about capsules is people are just getting tired of them. I've seen my wife take 20 capsules first thing in the morning, and it's like mind-boggling. Like I could never do that, and it's so hard. And so obviously there's so much capsule fatigue, and people want to take anything but a capsule. And the hard part about that is actually capsules are usually the most efficacious of all kind of form factors out there because you can actually fit in the right dosage of active ingredients to be able to solve the problem. And I see a lot of brands that, for example, these gummy brands, they're all over the place. And the interesting thing about gummies is, it's great for delivering very specific ingredients and delivering certain things because you can actually get the right amount in it. But in most cases, you can't. And so there's certain problems that companies trying to solve using gummies and or trying to solve using something like that. That's just never going to be effective. I genuinely believe that if you look at this in the long run, the only brands that are going to work are the ones that are actually going to do something with the consumer. Like a rare company where we have hero products across three massive categories. How do we distribute this as much as possible? And this is why kind of we're just focused on growing the company in that way more than growing the company by expanding into 10 other possible categories.
What's really great about launching into a a strong national retailer like Sprouts is that first brand, you can see the impact of the omnichannel flywheel. There's not only is there no cannibalization of your online business, but there's actually a flywheel tailwind to that online business. Is now that customer that saw your product in Philadelphia or saw your product in Miami on the shelf in real life, that's the ultimate influencer in some ways, right? It's just right there, front and center. There's something that's always going to be different about tangibly having the product in front of the customer. It's worth its weight in gold. It's the best ad that money could buy.
It takes someone about 7 to 13 impressions before they're able to buy something. So they have to hear and see and learn and talk about this product, so many times before they actually make that purchasing decision. And if we run surveys to kind of figure out, hey, you bought the product, when did you actually hear about the brand? And so the bigger and the older the brand gets, you could have people who heard about your brand a year ago and that still haven't bought. And this is so crazy because imagine someone who's listening to the brand, interested in the brand, knows about you, cares about you, but actually hasn't purchased a product because, it just takes time for people to do so because there's so much out there. And being physically available now increases that 7 to 13 impression. It happens so much faster because you walk into your local grocery store, you walk into wherever you're going, and you see the product there.
I'm a retailer background myself. The 40% of purchases at retail are still to this day impulse. And the magic of being in your category is that, and this was true, I used to work in wine. The magic is this is true in wine also. You can be a $30 or $40 impulse item in these categories. It's rare, but in these categories it works, right? So you can walk up, see the product, it's $40, but you're aware of it from advertising. You're aware of it in the ethos, in the zeitgeist. But then you see it and you impulsively spend 40 bucks on it. That is the best case scenario from the retailer's point of view, but it's also the best case scenario for the brand's point of view too.
100%. Completely agreed.
We're excited to be working together. I'm supremely confident that you guys are going to perform very well at Sprouts and beyond in retail. You already are. I'm excited to see what you guys do next. I think it's a needed gap fill in the market. I think you've solved a lot of problems already, but I think now you're going to be able to solve more problems for more people, and that'll be fun to watch. So congrats.
Thank you, Peter. No, it's been really great working with you guys. I think, obviously this has been such a big launch for us, and you guys have such a fundamental piece to play in it. So I think at this point, it's more about just keeping the shelves stocked, making sure, people have the opportunity to buy. It's such an operational game more than a marketing game, just because retail is so heavy in the details. But we're really excited to work with you, and yeah, I can't wait to see what's to come.
Cool. Thank you. All right. Let's stay in touch.
Thanks, Peter.